Practical uses for natural harmonics. This is lesson 22A of the GCH Guitar Academy Fingerstyle guitar course. However, you don't have to look at this lesson as part of the course, as it stands on its own. But if you can't already play natural harmonics, I'll put a link down below in the description to lesson 22, which teaches you how to play them. And if you're interested in going through the Fingerstyle course, you can find a link down below in the description to the complete playlist. And you can also find it on the website www.ebooks4guitar.com, and there you can view the PDF ebook online for free. Right, let's get into the lesson. Why natural harmonics are so useful. Natural harmonics have a strange and interesting characteristic in that you can play other notes apart from your open strings on the guitar without using the frets. And what this means is that the notes you're playing using natural harmonics will always be in perfect tune relative to the open strings. And this characteristic makes natural harmonics the perfect way to tune your guitar or check your intonation. So let's look at how we do these two things. Firstly, how to tune your guitar using natural harmonics. Tuning your guitar using natural harmonics can be compared to the 5th fret method, in that you're comparing the strings to one another. So you need to have one string in tune to start with. So step 1 is to tune the bottom E string using a tuner. Once we know the E string's in tune, we can check the A string using the harmonics on the bottom E string 5th fret with the harmonic on the 7th fret of the A string. Once you're happy that you've got the 7th fret harmonic on the A string in tune with the 5th fret harmonic on the E string, you can move on to the next step, which is to tune the D string. And we're going to use the same pattern moved up a string. So we're tuning the 7th fret harmonic on the D string to the 5th fret harmonic on the A string. Once you're happy that the D string is in tune with the A string, we can move on to the next step, which is to tune the G string. And hopefully you'll notice a pattern's forming. And we use this same pattern for the next string. So we're going to tune the 7th fret harmonic on the G string with the 5th fret harmonic on the D string, which is the same pattern as the previous two strings. Theoretically, at this point, you should have the bottom 4 strings in tune, which means we move on to the next step, which is to tune the B string. And as usual, the B string is different to all the other strings. So this time we tune the open B string with the 7th fret harmonic on the bottom E string, remembering that we've already tuned the bottom E string. Once you're happy that you've got the B string in tune, we can move on to the last step, which is to tune the top E string. And to do this, we return to the pattern we were originally using. So we tune the 7th fret harmonic on the top E string with the 5th fret harmonic on the B string. And hopefully, once you've done those steps, your guitar should be in tune. Hopefully you've noticed the obvious flaw in this technique, in that if you're tuning the bottom E string with a tuner, you might as well go on and tune all the other strings using a tuner as well. However, this technique is really intended for just doing a quick check of your tuning whilst you're practicing or something. And this technique does have advantages in that you're practicing your harmonics, so they should keep improving. And by tuning your guitar manually, you'll be training your ear to hear pitches more accurately, and you'll be able to tell when your guitar's out of tune far more quickly. Here's that technique one last time as I just go through the guitar to check the tuning. Before we go on, I'd just like to do a quick bit of revision, and that's because I get asked this question all the time. And the question is to do with string naming. And that is that the bottom string is the thick one, and the top string is the thin one. And this is because they're named by pitch, and all musical instruments are named the same way. So the lowest pitch string will always be the bottom one, even if its physical location is on the top. And the same thing applies to frets. So when we're going up the guitar, we're going from the headstock to the body. And when we're moving down the guitar, we're going from the body to the headstock. And this is because as we go up the guitar, the pitch gets higher, and as we go down the guitar, the pitch gets lower. So basically, to remember this, all you have to remember is that the name depends on the pitch of the note and not its physical position. Right, let's get back into the lesson. And the second thing we can check with natural harmonics is the intonation of the guitar. How to test a guitar's intonation using natural harmonics. If you've not heard of intonation before, this is the internal tuning of the guitar. And an obvious symptom of really bad intonation is when you can tune a guitar up absolutely perfect, but when you fret the notes, the guitar still sounds out of tune. What can cause this is the lengths of the strings being very slightly out. And on most electric guitars, you can adjust this quite easily. However, on acoustic guitars, it can be really tricky to adjust. But in this video, we're not covering how to adjust your intonation. We're just looking at how to test it. I have done some videos in the past on adjusting intonation, and I'll do more in the future on various different types of guitars. I'll put links to those videos down below in the description. But even if you can't adjust your intonation yet, it's certainly a good thing to be able to check it. And how we do this is by checking the tuning on the 12th fret. And to check this easily, we just have to play the fretted note on the 12th fret and then compare that with the harmonic on the 12th fret and see if there's any difference. And this same formula works for all the strings, where you play the fretted 12th fret and then compare that with the harmonic on the 12th fret. And as I explained earlier, the harmonic will stay perfectly in tune relative to the open string, whereas the fretted note relies on the length of the string being correct and the position of the 12th fret being correct. So, if the fretted note is either sharp or flat relative to the harmonic, then you know the intonation needs to be adjusted. Right, let's check the intonation on this guitar so you can see how it's done. This time I'll start on the top E string, and I'll start by playing the 12th fret fretted. And here's the first harmonic on the 12th fret. Now let's just compare the two. And to check the intonation on the other strings, I literally just repeat this process, as it's the same on all the strings. Here that is again, but this time showing the actual guitar. If you try this technique, play the 12th fret fretted notes very carefully so you don't bend the string. If possible, put the minimum amount of force necessary to play the note. Now, even though we're not going to go through the actual adjustment in this particular video, I'll just show you a few different bridges and saddles and show you how they're adjusted, just to give you an idea. The more common Fender guitars are all very easy to adjust. Something like a Strat or a Telecaster or even a Fender bass has a screw at the end of the bridge that moves the saddle backwards and forwards, and this makes it really easy to adjust the intonation. Gibson style or Tune-o-matic bridges again are quite easy to adjust. You've got an easy screw to turn to adjust the intonation. However, it can be a little awkward to access as the string tends to get in the way. And something that's slightly strange about these is the fact that they're reversible. So you could find the adjustment screws on either side of the bridge depending on the guitar. Floyd Rose style or Ibanez style tremolos can be a little awkward to set up, in that sometimes you need a special tool to adjust the intonation. However, there are ways around this, but it's pretty fidgety. And last but not least are acoustic and electroacoustic guitars. And the vast majority of these are very difficult to set the intonation on. Don't get me wrong, they're not impossible to set. However, I wouldn't recommend it as a job for a beginner. Now, even if you eventually don't want to learn how to set up or adjust your own guitar, this technique is still useful when you go out and look at new guitars, because it's an important thing to check in the shop. And you can either get them to adjust the guitar before you take it, or just leave the guitar, because if the intonation is bad, the guitar will never sound right. And sometimes you can get the music shop to adjust the intonation for you. And other times you can try a different guitar that's the same make and model, and the intonation will be perfect. It's a strange thing. There are literally hundreds of different types of bridges and saddles, so I can't look at them all in this video. However, in the future I'll be making more specialised videos on how to adjust the intonation on specific guitars. I hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully learned something or got something from it. And if you did, please do like, subscribe and hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And if you want some free guitar lessons, you can look at www.ebooks4guitar.com, and there you'll find all my YouTube videos, but with the lessons put into courses so they make sense. and you can learn in a progressive way, especially if you're a beginner, and that way you'll learn properly. You'll also find the ebooks in PDF format there, which also include notes on this lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully see you again soon.